Hey guys, it's Pastor Chad. Hope you are having a great day. Mine is kind of screwy today. I can't get my camera on my laptop to work, so I'm on my phone. So I hope this goes through. We have the bandwidth enough to be able to do that for us, but it's just one of those days. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was about our faith and how our faith is very much like a muscle. And, if we don't exercise our muscles, they start to atrophy, right? So they become weaker and to a point where they can't even support your body. And I think our faith muscle is acts just like that. Someone very strong in their faith continues to grow and to be stronger and be able to do more, right? And even endure more, right? The endurance is a large part of a muscle as well. And when we don't exercise our faith, we tend to become skeptical. We tend to not believe, right? And doubt ourselves and take on all the burdens of life instead of giving them over to the Lord. And so I wanted to read this piece of scripture, and it's from James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4. And it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." See, that's another one, perseverance. "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything." All right? Mature, complete, and not lacking anything. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about this and how we all can relate to the strengthening of our faith. You see, our faith is just like that muscle, and as muscles in our bodies need regular exercise to grow stronger, so does our faith. And the best way to strengthen our faith muscle is by facing these challenges that we have in life. And if you're anything like me, I'm sure have hit some challenges in your life already. I mean, mine's a silly little camera issue on my laptop, but there are many of us out there that have much bigger challenges that we're dealing with in our life. But by pushing through those tough times and by trusting God, even when things don't go our way, this faith muscle is exercised and becoming stronger, right? I wanted to take a look at the Apostle Peter, and if you've listened to the past couple sermons a couple weeks ago, or attended our praise service, you heard this story before, and it's about Peter walking on water, and it's in Matthew chapter 14. Well, Jesus called Peter out of the boat, and so Peter started to step out of the boat and onto the waves, right? And at first, Peter was doing great. He was walking on water, right? I mean, the closest thing to me walking on water is if I was to put a case of it out in front of me and step up on it. That's about as close as I'm ever going to get to walking on water, unless Jesus comes by and tells me to step out of the boat, right? Well, Peter steps out of the boat and he starts to walk on water, and he's doing absolutely fantastic. His eyes are fixed on Jesus, and he's got the right focus. His faith is strong. But then what happens? Well, Peter notices all the things around him. Peter notices the wind and the waves, and his attention is distracted from Jesus. And his faith starts to waver. And we all know what happens when our faith wavers. Peter began to sink like a rock. And not surprisingly, but even in that moment when Peter's faith muscle seemed to be giving out, he cried out to Jesus, and Jesus immediately reached out to him and took his hand and caught him. But what I want you to understand, this story is more than just about the miracle of walking on water. It's about the growth of Peter's faith. You see, every time Peter faced a challenge, his faith muscle got a little stronger. And by the time that we see Peter after Jesus' resurrection, Peter now is one of those that are leading the early church with this boldness and confidence that he had. All right? His faith was tested. Yeah, he was tested when he was walking on water, and his faith was refined through that storm he went through. And that's how our faith is. Every time we go through a storm, my prayer for you is that your faith muscle gets stronger, and that you know that you can rely on the Lord and that he's always going to be there for you. Because I know that there are doubts. I know we all have doubts on things. We hope that God is there for us, and we hope that he will deliver us from the various challenges that we're going through. But by working through each and every single challenge that we have in our life, that faith muscle is getting stronger. And I liken this to someone who is running a marathon. There was a story of this young lady who was training for a marathon, and she had never ran a long distance like this before. It was her first, and it seemed impossible. You hear about this a lot, where people want to run a long distance, whether it's a half a marathon or a marathon. I, quite frankly, would just take the car, but that's okay. But there are people out there, and there are training regimens that will help individuals train for a marathon, to train for running long distances. And, there were days where this young lady who was training for this marathon just flat out wanted to up and quit. I'm sure we've all been there. There are days when her muscles ached, and finishing, and the finish line just seemed to be getting further and further away. I don't know about you, but my body aches if I cut the grass the day before. It's just, she was ready to quit. But she kept going, and she pushed through the pain. She trusted the process. And that's part of what we need to do too, right? We need to trust the process. We need to trust that God is going to be there for us. And finally, the day of the marathon arrives, and guess what? She crosses the finish line stronger and more resilient than ever. I just can't imagine the exhilaration of running a marathon and crossing that finish line, and knowing that everything that you went through prepared you, built those muscles and your endurance and your stamina to be able to be strong enough to do that. It must be an amazing feeling. I saw my daughter run a half marathon once, and I was at the finish line, and just the look on her face was amazing. And I know that it was a lot of miles. but the look on her face and the training that she did all paid off. So, and just like these athletes, right? Just like those that are running marathons and doing other things, our faith grows stronger when we keep pushing forward, even when it's hard. Even more so, I would think, when it's hard. The trials we face in life are like those in training days. They stretch us, they challenge us, and in the end, they do make our faith stronger. Now, I would never tell you that the path is easy. The things that we go through aren't easy. But what I can tell you is that when we go through those things, it does make us stronger. Absolutely makes us stronger. So I guess some of the things that we should think about are, what are some of the training exercises that we can incorporate into our daily life to help strengthen that faith muscle? So when we're hit with some of these challenges in life, you're not starting from a cold start. They say that anytime that we go to exert ourselves, we should warm up those muscles. And faith is the same way. We need to make sure that we're continuing to be in faith, that we're continuing to do things that will help us and prepare us. So when we really need, and we're really dealing with something that may seem insurmountable, we're not starting from a cold start. Our faith is already revved up. We've got gas in the tank. We are ready to go no matter what we are facing. And when we face these challenges, do you see them as opportunities to grow, or are we finding ourselves just wanting to give up? Giving up is too easy. And I think there are a lot of things in this world that we give up on too easy, instead of just kind of sucking it up and getting through it. And our faith will help us get through these things. But we have to be in the right mindset and know that giving up on our faith is not an answer. We may not like the answer that we get as we come out of the challenges that we are in, but giving up on our faith is not something that we can afford to do. So as we go forward this week, as we start to go down our various paths, I think there are a couple things that stand out to me, and one of them is to embrace the challenges that are put before us. Right? Don't turn and run from them. Run head on into them. Know that your faith is strong enough to get you through these things. And the way that our faith is strong enough is one of these other things I think we should focus on, which is staying focused on Jesus and all of the wonderful things that he has already done for us in our lives, that we know that he has done for others, that we know that he's done for Peter. He didn't let Peter sink like a rock. He reached his hand out and he brought him back to the surface of the water. And staying focused on Jesus, especially in times of challenge, will help us get through those times, because we won't feel alone. There was a children's moment this past Sunday in church, and Regina did it, and I thought it was so cool. She said, ask the kids if 1 + 1 = 3. And the kid said, no, it equals 2. And she said, well, no, actually it equals 3. And what she meant by that, and what they finally realized was, you plus me is the 1 + 1, but Jesus is always there as well. So 1 + 1 really is the 3 of us, right? We're not having a one-on-one conversation. Jesus is engaged in this as well. The other thing that